keeps busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News live from our studio here at Desawe in Accra. It is coming to you from our studio here and also live on our Facebook page. Coming up for the next 30 minutes, founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, urges Alan Kyerematen to contest for president of the Republic as an independent candidate after his withdrawal from the NPP flag bearer race. More as Nyaho Tamaklo accuses the party of stabbing Mr. Kyerematen in the back. Details of that particular story coming up in a jiffy as we gauge the fallout of what has been a major turnaround in the NPP's party fold. We'll also go to the Ashanti region, which is supposed to be the stronghold of the party, a day after Alan has pulled out of the contest, to find out what the reactions are. Stay with us. Your election command center has got all angles covered for you. Meanwhile, the election committee of the NPP is expected to conduct balloting for positions for the November 4 presidential primary. Later today, we'll touch base with our reporter who's also deployed to that particular part of the party. Still in politics, the 2024 NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama urges all party officers and members to fully participate in the upcoming limited registration exercise ahead of the December 19 district level elections.
Registering and acquiring a voter ID card to vote in the December 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections is therefore an opportunity.
And that's former President John Mahama. Will bring you a full version of what exactly he's been saying in the last few hours. We are live around the world on 3news.com and also streaming on Facebook. Let's get into the details of the stories now. And we're starting from the political front of things, where a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, is urging former Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, to contest in the 2024 presidential elections as an independent presidential candidate. According to him, Mr. Kyerematen must test his national popularity if he still desires to lead the country. His call comes after the flag bearer hopeful pulled out from the November 4 presidential primary of the party, citing intimidation and uneven playing field. First of all, we'll be hearing from Yaboabing Asamoah, who is actually the spokesperson for the party, the campaign of Alan Kyerematen. Now, he's been sharing his position and expatiating on what exactly is the reason why they decided to step aside or withdraw from the race.
Deliberate skewing, orchestration, and at the end of the day, intimidation, inducements, essentially fear has been at work. And it's all directed at restricting Mr. Kyerematen's ability to engage in a fair process. It is a fact, and it's obvious that everybody knows that candidate. I've spoken severally on your network about that particular candidate. The establishment candidate it's not a secret. And indeed, it's not a secret that the process is leading up to this. The party has been acting with impunity. The party has taken decisions that have not been sustainable. For example, the conference that was delivered regionally was not fair.
And that is Yaboabing Asamoah, who is the spokesperson for the Alan Kyerematen campaign. Beyond that, we also know that the founding member, that is Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, has described Mr. Kyerematen's withdrawal as unfortunate, but says he was not surprised. He is accusing the party of stabbing the former trade minister in the back and warns Alan Kyerematen to contest the next election as an independent candidate. But would he? And that's a part of the many questions that is being asked right now. Would Alan Kyerematen want to stand as an independent candidate? Let's listen to exactly what Mr. Nyaho Tamaklo has been saying regarding this.
Being defensive on almost any issue, and it's friends like that. But the sad thing is that Alan, to me, has been stabbed in the back by the MP. And that is very sad. Because when I look at those who want to be president of the country at the moment, he's the only one who stands tall among them. He's the only one I can say have got democratic credentials. He's the only one I believe strongly. A lot of people, if he intends running as an independent candidate, would definitely like to try him. Now, why do I say the party has been destroyed? We have a lot of new faces in the party who daily come on the airwaves to defend the indefensible. It is very disheartening. This party has always got a succession plan. Let me go through that briefly. And that brings the point about Alan being stabbed in the back. And it is unfortunate that is being done by my friend Nana Akufo-Addo. Alan could have been. But Alan should have even resigned early. I told him.
You told him?
If he heard about it. If he had left earlier, because he was a cabinet minister and he knew about the infractions going on. All sort of things being done. If I were Alan, I would have resigned on principle. And this would have been easier for him today. But he has got the style of my friend J. Kufuor. You go about it gently. Kufuor was also very smart. And he was able to maneuver his way to get to where he got to. But if Alan has stepped down now from the race, I think his intention is, unless he doesn't want to be leader of this country again, he should go and test his popularity.
How?
By standing as an independent candidate. I say he should do that to test his popularity, national popularity. He should stand as an independent candidate, and he will see. Through that, you will see. Because a lot of money has been wasted through this election. We know it. When they come to defend, I laugh. Monies have been spent, huge amounts of money. Huge. I mean, it's such a disgrace.
And that's the voice of a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, speaking to Roland Walker earlier today on TV3's New Day. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, political analyst and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Doc, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Yesterday, we had a conversation right around this time about the expectation of that cancelled press conference that was to have been delivered by Alan Kyerematen. Subsequently, a statement was released to confirm what exactly it was many had in mind, which was his withdrawal. What are your initial thoughts on all of this?
Well, good afternoon, Martin. Good afternoon to your listeners. I want everyone to check on the 26th of August what I said in the studios of Adom TV. When the results came, I looked at Ashanti region and I said that if I were Alan, I would have resigned from this particular race, and he has done so. So I'm not really surprised that that particular decision has been taken by him.
Oh, so you foresaw that the way things were going as the results were coming in, it wasn't looking good. His best option would be to step down.
Yes, because, one, everybody was expecting that because of the characteristics of those super delegates, so to speak, who are going to vote, you are likely to play second. You couldn't do that. Then his reasons come in, which are very tenable reasons. I mean, if you look at this situation, for example, you have your agent whose eye, whether it is destroyed, whatever, you never can tell. You don't have the leadership of the party itself complain or condemning that. What that means is that they are in approval of what has transpired. Now he says that he doesn't know what is ahead, should he continue, and what could probably happen to any of his agents. For me, I agree. Now, the other thing, too, is that you have 10 candidates who contested to pick 5. Now, 9 out of 10 are saying that let's just centralize this particular voting process. That particular person, the one candidate does not prefer any view. Now, SEC or NEC decide that no, we want to decentralize it. Now, when you decentralize that against the 9, it's a democracy. You are conducting the election for these 10 to pick 5. And 9 of them are suggesting to you that this is the way to go. Why? Because to prevent intimidation and harassment, and of course, over-inducement. Right. Because now, it is about the fact that the highest bidder, the one with optimum resources, is the one that is likely to win. And that's the more reason why we have the establishment candidate. So why will somebody vote and show his ballot? It's because the person is intimidated and harassed.
Right.
Or he has been induced, so to speak. And so the system has been skewed to favor a particular candidate. And that, for me, that view that is preferred is accurate. So is it about going towards resources, or you should think of something else? And that decision that he's taken, I foresaw it coming. That is why I said that if I were him, I would have resigned.
Okay. And clearly your what you said at the time seemed to have been a prediction which has come true.
No.
And on the back of his withdrawal, we are hearing from founding member of the party, Dr. Nyawota Maklo, that he should test his popularity, for instance, and stand as an independent candidate. As a political watcher, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, that decision is this, because he left a caveat in the statement that he put out there, that in a not too distant future, he will announce his political future to Ghana, not to the party. He used the name Ghana. So that is a possibility. But as to whether he can survive with that, I can't tell. If you look at his support base, if anything is to go by, I think that what Alan has done is not only an indictment on the integrity of the establishment, it is also an indictment on the integrity of the executive, the national executives, because Alan is not a fly in the pan of the MPP. And where his support base is, you could see that, Martin, let's take something, for example. Let's just say that he had a little over 10%. Kennedy Japan had a little over 14%. And if you add that, what does that mean? It tells you that these are people or support base. Even this one is just super delegate. If I'm using that as just a position to do the analysis, these are super delegates. If we do a trickle-down effect, go to the grassroots, that percentage is a percentage that is against the establishment candidate.
Right.
And that in itself is very troubling for the MPP going into the 2024 elections.
Okay. Doc, we definitely will be engaging you more as the days roll out and as we all gear up for the 2024 elections. So thank you for your time for now. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst and a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. And so that's you heard what he had to say about Alan's withdrawal and the fallout from it. Talking about fallouts, though, let's find out what the reaction has been in his home region, which is the Ashanti region where Alan Kyerematen came from, or comes from, I should say. Also, I mean, after the August 26 elections, it looks as though the numbers that were expected for Alan, especially from the Ashanti region, were also not, anything to write home about. So let's gauge the mood in the Ashanti region. What's their reaction following this decision that seemed to have rocked the New Patriotic Party, and how is the party supporters or the party base in the Ashanti region managing or handling this particular issue? Let's speak to William Evans Inkum, who is our Ashanti regional correspondent, to let us know what exactly they have been saying. Before we speak to William Evans Inkum, he actually engaged a number of people there, and these were the words they had to share on the subject.
NPP part 1 amamu no ebetimi asanso ahunu biem ewom se we no mo ye adwuma de na so me wogidie pa o Alan mo se ko betimi aye adwuma ti se ote part foforo a medinachi ti tete se bi obeti ne ho ne de no de basa emwa ono amu no ntimi wini e na basa so be ma NPP ye obenya no e be kofom nti yesere no se onya botre no be ka ho ne yenko na position the doors
si aba omi so party mu dada was awo position woman dada. It will no message or the two a bit toss to Muslim say, who know our Rizana or teacher. I don't know about Baumia Afadiano. Baumia, what the cashier quarter now you quote. Quote to Russia quay and some more yeano. I'm a fool who say, oh, Nidia, our home.
Well, so those are a number of party supporters and people who have been following the developments within the NPP. The first speaker, for instance, said that if Alan decides to set up his own party, he would support Alan Kyerematen in that regard or on that course for setting up his own party. The second person said that he thinks that it would not be in the best interest of Alan Kyerematen to break away from the NPP, but rather he should be part of the bigger family, the elephant family, so that they can do battle together in 2024 and hopefully win against the NDC. And you heard the voice of a third person who says that what did the trick for Dr. Bawumia is his performance when the party went to court after the 2012 elections for the election petition, and believes that those things he said and how he defended the party is what has helped with his ability to win in the last delegates conference and the super delegates conference, and is optimistic that based on that he can lead the party into the 2024 election. So those are views of some supporters of the NPP in the Ashanti region. Hopefully we get a connection to our reporter. In the meantime, I'm sure that if you've been following the developments on the political front, you would know that today, the 6th of September 2023, the NPP is balloting for the position of those who will be going into the 2024, the November 4 elections to select one. As it stands, following Alan's withdrawal, only 4 individuals are left on the ballot paper, and out of that 4, one would have to be elected by the bigger pool of NPP delegates, which is in excess of over 220,000 individuals. So the party leadership, as we speak, is about to ballot for the positions of the 4 candidates who will be first, who will be second, third, and fourth. And, there are already speculations that even amongst those 4, some of them may still withdraw. If that happens, it might throw things a bit out of gear for the party. But since it's not happened yet, we're going to stay the course and assume that everything is still rolling out as normal. So we'll be joining Duke Opoku Mensah, who is the party head office, where we are told that the balloting is about taking place, to first of all tell us exactly what has gone on so far, which individuals have come to the party head office, and whether the exercise has commenced or not. So when we do get him, we'll try and get his thoughts on what exactly is going on. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is the Midday News live from our studio here at Desawe in Accra. Do get interactive with us. Let's know what your thoughts are. Definitely, as someone who's been following these conversations, I'm sure you will have a thought. We'll be happy to hear it. We are now crossing over to the other part of the political divide. That is the camp of the National Democratic Congress. The 2024 flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, is urging all officers and members of the party to put aside all other businesses and focus on the upcoming registration of persons into the voters' register. The Electoral Commission will open the voters' register on September 12, 2023 for the registration of new voters ahead of the district-level elections, which has been slated for the 19th of December 2023. The electoral body is aiming to register some 1.3 million new voters. The exercise, according to the EC, will take place only at district offices across the country, to the displeasure of some political parties. In a televised address earlier today, John Mahama says that the registration forms part of a greater move to be taken by Ghanaians to kick out an incompetent administration that has imposed hardship on the people of Ghana. Let's hear some of the thoughts that have been shared by the former president, John Dramani Mahama.
Registering and acquiring a voter ID card to vote in the December 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections is not just a basic civic duty, it is an obligation. As a people Our starting point to effect real change in our country is to register and vote. You and I have a collective responsibility to use our votes wisely to hold our leaders accountable and demand the change we desperately need. It is the surest way to secure our democracy. As young people, we must hold immense power in our hands. The upcoming limited voter registration exercise by the Electoral Commission is therefore an opportunity to start the process towards making your voices heard and shaping the future of our dear country, Ghana. Your vote in 2024 will symbolize your desire for a better Ghana, a determination to overcome the challenges we face, and your commitment to help build the Ghana we want together. A Ghana that guarantees you, your children, your siblings, and our unborn generations a brighter, sustainable future with well-paying jobs. But that will only happen when you acquire a voter's ID card and cast your vote for the NDC in that crucial election on December 7th, 2024.
So those are the words of John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. Let's take a step back to our earlier story having to do with the NPP. And as I indicated, the balloting for the final four going into the November 4 presidential primary is expected to take place today. Duke Mensah Opoku is at the party headquarters. He's joined us on phone for a quick update. Duke, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. What's going on at the party head office?
As I speak to you, Martin, the electoral committee of the party in a meeting. They are in a meeting with the aspirants. I can tell you that two of the aspirants themselves are here, Kennedy Japan and Awusah Akoto, and the reps of the other two candidates are also here. The balloting itself has not started, but the electoral committee is meeting the aspirants to try as much as possible to resolve some of the grievances they have before the balloting itself takes place. So that meeting has been going on. The deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomark just walked into that meeting about 10 minutes ago, and chairman of the committee, Professor Elonokwe, is also in the meeting, and deliberations are proceeding. After that meeting, that the balloting will take place.
Right, and just for clarity, did you say two of the candidates are there and the other two are just being represented? And which two are there, if that's what you said?
Yes, so Kennedy Japan and Dr. Awusah Akoto are here in person, and Adenimo has representative here, Vice President Dr. Baumia, we are told also has representative here.
Right. And Duke, do we know whether the party has now formally received a communication from Alan about his withdrawal? As of yesterday, they said that they were hearing about it in the media and are yet to be formally informed.
I spoke to the Director of Elections and Research just before he went into the meeting. He said that, well, there are processes that the party has to go through. He's expecting that by now that letter should have been with the General Secretary. But as at the time he was speaking to me, he said he didn't know if the party had received official communication from Alan. But that is an issue that the General Secretary will have to speak to.
All right. Thank you for those updates from the NPP head office or headquarters. Duke Mensah Opoku is my colleague who's monitoring activities there. And what is expected is that he indicated, a meeting is ongoing. After the meeting, they will now be doing the balloting and would get to know where the four candidates will be placed on the ballot paper. Away from mainstream politics, but still staying on issues regarding the government, Cabinet has approved the decision for Ghana to join the Pacific Alliance as an observer. The Pacific Alliance, which comprises Colombia, Peru, Chile, and other countries, will assist Ghana to learn best practices in areas of economic growth and removal of inequality. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia announced this during a courtesy call on him by the Vice President of Colombia, Francia Elena Marquez, at the Jubilee House in Accra. Let's listen to some of the interactions between both individuals at that event. All right, so we'll definitely bring you that in subsequent bulletins, but at least it's a step in the right direction, considering that Ghana is looking at expanding its bilateral and multilateral relations in, around global geopolitics. Now, President Akufo-Addo says government is dealing with the illegal mining scourge and said that those actions taken by government is yielding some positive results. Large tracts of Ghana's vegetation continue to suffer, with water bodies polluted, resulting in many things among many things, an increase in water tariff aimed at helping treat the water. Addressing a gathering of African leaders at the ongoing Africa Climate Summit, however, the president said that the ban on illegal mining and flagship projects like the One Village, One Dam is contributing to the fight against climate change.
The strategic focus of the One Village, One Dam initiative, for example, in the northern regions of our country, is to provide all year-round access to water to smallholder farmers who practically have no viable livelihood alternatives during the long dry seasons. We're also determined to make natural gas, which we have in abundance, available for the generation of electricity. We placed a ban on illegal mining, the phenomenon we call galamsey, which was destroying our water bodies, vegetation, and our forests. Some 20,000 young people have been engaged to plant more than 30 million trees in 2 years to create jobs and restore degraded land. These policy initiatives are already using positive results to the attainment of the SDG goals, particularly the goal of reducing our carbon emissions.
And that's President Akufo-Addo speaking in Nairobi, Kenya, where today will be the third day of that Africa Climate Change Summit. And my colleague Eric Mayonagbeta is the one monitoring all the developments there for us. Subsequently, we'll get to know what exactly I'm told that the African leaders have come up with a final resolution which has been appended by all the leaders. Details of that will be made available to us in subsequent bulletins and also on our website, 3news.com. And just before we go on to some other stories, we know that in the health sector, a lot has been happening where Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Menu is maintaining that work will start soon on the abandoned La General Hospital redevelopment project. The project, which is yet to materialize after years of controversy surrounding its start, has been of concern to residents. At a media briefing on the progress made by the ministry in ensuring a healthy population, the minister said new funds have been obtained for the project as well as the Shama 1, which is in the western region, and is saying that all of that will all be starting very soon. And before we jump into business, the paramount chief of Mampon traditional area, Dartey Oseibones II, has warned the government not to follow the footsteps of Europeans and Americans to legalize same-sex marriage in Ghana. Speaking at the 32nd Christoph Haynes Africa Human Rights Moot Court competition in Kumasi, the second in command of Asanteman entreated Parliament to ensure that the anti-LGBTQ plus bill is passed to maintain the sanctity of the country's culture. Let's listen briefly to what Dartey has been saying.
We should sit here, cut our own culture. Me, sit here, because of that, I've done what? I've acquired degrees in the European universities, like, those here we've established. I should throw away our culture we've inherited from time immemorial. Because of what? Dollars over there. I permit a man to kiss a man, and a man to kiss a man, and a woman to kiss a man. Please, I don't need to talk about it over here. We are waiting for you, our younger ones. You start to popularity when you check that topic in your moot of court. For heaven's sake, don't say that Uganda must be ostracized just because they were bold to have passed a bill into law. Ghana, we have ours in parliament. And low betides those parliamentarians, if they can about it, and emulate what is happening in America. They'll come and meet us in our respective kingdoms.
Very controversial subject there and being talked about by the Paramount Chief of the Mampon Traditional Area. And that's it for the bulletin. Thank you very much for listening. Before we go, a recap of our big stories this afternoon. Founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyao Tamaklo, is urging Alan Chemating to test his popularity by running as an independent candidate in the 2024 elections. And also, former President John Dramani Mahama and flag bearer of the NDC is urging all party officers and members to fully participate in the upcoming limited registration exercise ahead of the December 19 district level elections. Details of all these stories and more will be found on our website 3news.com. My name is Martin Aseidu Dartey. Bye for now. Bismark is next with business.
Time now for Business Daily with me, Bismark. Awusah. Coming up, total value of loans registered by banks in second quarter of 2023 hits 5.9 billion cedis. And CD expected to maintain consistent trading pattern this week. We'll bring you details of these stories and many others shortly. Thanks for your company. Now to our very first story. In the second quarter of 2023, banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions granted secured loans of 5.9 billion cedis in value. This marks a significant growth of 15.5% compared to the previous year. The following 3 business desk report has more.
According to the second quarter collateral registry report by the Bank of Ghana, banks alone were responsible for 4.9 billion cedis of these secured loans, indicating a 14.8% increase compared to the same period in 2022. The bank's share of secured loans were 83.7% of the total loans. On the other hand, the specialized deposit-taking institutions recorded a total amount of 971.1 million cedis of secured loans, representing a share of 16.5% and an increase of 19.1% from the 815 million cedis recorded for the same period in 2022. Banks registered the largest share of the total value of secured loans in the second quarter with 83.7%. Meanwhile, the total number of collateral registrations recorded for the second quarter of 2023 was 50,695. This is compared to 43,861 registrations in the same quarter of 2022, representing 15.6% year-on-year growth.
And that was a business desk report. Meanwhile, the second quarter 2023 collateral registry report from the Bank of Ghana also reveals that commerce and finance sector accounted for the highest share of secured loans of 31.15% in second quarter of 2023. Moving on, the cedi is expected to maintain a consistent trading pattern this week due to the measures taken by the Bank of Ghana to alleviate pressure on the local currency. Last week, the local currency faced renewed challenges despite the central bank's efforts to enhance foreign exchange liquidity. The following business desk report has more. The local currency last week initially opened at a mid-rate of 11 cedis 50 pesos per dollar. It maintained a trading pace but experienced a 0.65% decline on the retail market week on week. It further depreciated by 0.17% and 0.6% week on week against the pound and euro respectively. During the 35th Forex auction for bulk oil distribution companies, the central bank allocated $20 million at a 30-day forward rate of 11 cedis 42 pesos, representing a 100 basis points increase from the previous auction. Additionally, the Bank of Ghana injected 11.5 million cedis into the spot market to alleviate demand pressures. Despite these interventions, the cedi struggled to maintain stability due to persistent local demand. Since January 2023, the cedi has depreciated by approximately 11.4% against the US dollar on the retail market and 22.1% on the interbank market. And that was a business desk report on the performance of the cedi this week. A banking consultant, Dr. Awusah, says the move of a takeover of struggling National Investment Bank will save jobs. Government is considering moves for ADB Bank to take over the bank, according to 3 Business Intelligence. Dr. Awusah is, however, of the view ADB Bank will need recapitalization to make the move viable.
What will be more important is that the two institutions, as we speak now, the impact of the DDEP has really impacted on even the ADB financials. So it's not only just the NIB, which is a bit insolvent. My take is, after the proposed merger is consummated, I think there's a need to be able to support the whole capital restoration plan for the merged entity, because that will really help for the bank to be able to support business growth, because a mere putting them together will not resolve anything, because as we speak, the bank is not healthy in terms of business growth. So I'll be happy to see a plan in place to be able to support the entire business drive, and that will entail or will call for some capital support when the merger is consummated. And I think that will give everybody comfort in terms of all the stakeholders. Employers will be happy, other stakeholders will be happy, customers will be happy, and then leadership will be able to drive the agenda for growth.
And that was banking consultant Dr. Kojo Awusah. This is still Business Daily with me, Bismark, Awusah. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, says it is unrelenting in its efforts to ensure businesses comply with issuance of VAT in their operations. The authority has been on an enforcement exercise since the introduction of its electronic value-added tax (EVAT) system. Commissioner General of the GRA, Dr. Awusah, says his outfit will continue to ensure compliance in order to raise the needed revenue for government.
I think that is something that I want to take the opportunity to let Ghanaians know that we'll continue consistently. Since we started the exercise last year, we have seen that early part of the first quarter was 92%. In June, July, we were trying to review the process. As we reviewed the process and we're not going out, we saw the numbers going down. And we have resumed again. And want to let everyone who sells a service or provide a service or any of that, we have what we call mystery shoppers or test purchases. In other words, we have given monies to people like you who are coming to their shops, who are coming to their restaurants, who are coming to their hotels. And if you issue a receipt that is not a VAT receipt, in the next moment or in the next day, you will see people coming to your shop. So let all Ghanaians know that the next customer who will enter your shop may be a mystery purchaser or a test purchaser. And it is important that we are all become compliant so that we will get the revenues for our nation.
And that was Commissioner General of the GRA, Dr. Awusah. Before we go, labor expert Austin Game is proposing companies should focus on increasing basic salaries and reduce allowances of employees to improve the pensions benefits of workers. This follows proposals from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, and some stakeholders in the pensions industry for the contributions to be increased to make the scheme sustainable.
A recent actuarial valuation by SNIT recommended Ghana's Social Security contributions should be raised, as the scheme could be under threat in the next 10 years if measures are not taken to review the rate of contributions. However, Labour analyst Austin Game believes that 2 things need to be addressed to boost pensions benefits in the country. He stated that inefficiencies in the management of SNIT contributions and the current allowances system in salary structures are part of the causes of poor pensions paid to Ghanaians.
The contribution level of working people, as far as pensions concerned, is enough. It is a mismanagement of it that should be taken a close look at. There is really no need for an upward of the percentage. What should be done is to manage the pension scheme well.
On the issue of raising the retirement age, Mr. Game appears to have a contrary opinion.
We don't need to review it. We have a problem of employment and unemployment on our hands. The people who are old want a review of the age. 70 before they retire. May they retire now and leave the office for the young people to get job. If you are very, very capable, you have an extraordinary gift and knowledge and the potential to help the nation, you don't need to be a work-for-life person before you contribute. Anybody who thinks that he has the capacity to contribute as a mega star in this country should contribute from his corner and not necessarily on a government payroll.
And that will be all for Business Daily with me, Bismark Awusah. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.